it happens. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so Instagram photos, like, they're fleeting. Like, you post it today, you get a couple of likes.
Again, it's not the destination, but sometimes it's also the journey. So, join us in this first episode of. Okay, so welcome back to the channel. So over the past week, I got into a conversation with a friend, and we got lost in our conversation about photography and movies and life in general. And we started talking about doing a nice little segment where, we put together our photos and talk about it and all that, and everything that matters to us, and hopefully, things that matter to you as well. So, join us in this first episode of Raw, Unfiltered, Edited. And we have with us a good friend of mine and someone who I consider actually as my mentor, even though she kind of denies it. We have Ria with us. Hi, Ria.
Hello, Paco. Thank
Awesome.
you for having this idea to create a space for us to talk about stuff that's not all about technical. That's not all about the technical side of photography, because sometimes we're so caught up with the latest gear, with having this and that, and we forget about the image that we take, that we create.
Definitely. Now, I know a lot about you, but for the sake of the people that don't know you yet, would you mind telling us what it is you do?
Okay, so Paco and I used to be teammates in our previous company. So, but I used to do the same thing. We're in the same. Like, I used to do. Do your viewers know you're doing e-learning?
Yeah, well, I don't talk about it, but yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, okay. So
Really.
we used to do a lot of e-learning content. So, but like, there came a point that I wanted to leave and do full-time photography. So, I'm here now in Bahrain. It's the Middle East. It's in the Middle East. It's one of, not one, but it's the country that's most open to all cultures, and they tolerate all progressive ideas here, but like not too much, because this is still a Muslim country. But anyway, I became a photographer here first. I was a wedding photographer for 2 years, but I didn't really like it. Like, not like it, but like, I felt that it wasn't really into me. I wasn't really into it. Like the hours, the long hours, because
Yeah.
Middle East wedding cultures are very, very, very different from Philippines. So, and then after my stint with the wedding photography studio, I got in as a photographer at the digital marketing agency here. So, well, in my previous job, I can say that my studio skills were, improved, or I learned studio, because in the Philippines, I'm just doing hobby, and photography was just a hobby, and improving portraits and stuff, discovering what I want to do. But here, I got to learn about the business of studio photography. Yeah, so, and then when I got into the digital marketing, I do a lot of product photography and real estate. So we don't have much food photography in our as clients. So I'm much more into interior photography and product photography at work. But for personal, it's more of like still. For personal, I do personal stories, turning it into documenting it through photography.
Awesome.
That's it.
And how long have you been doing photography? For how many years now? You've been doing it for some time. Ever since I knew you, you were into photography already.
Yeah. So well, basically, when I was growing up, we are surrounded by photography, but mostly it's about just documenting family. Just just you have a camera and they don't. It's just a simple camera for the family to document family events.
Yeah.
And my grandfather and my mom, my aunts, they're very obsessed with collecting photo albums. I think every Filipino family has that. Like collecting photo albums, having it printed in a photo studio before photo studios and printing photos were still very much alive.
Yeah.
So, and photo books in the sense na photo albums in a sense na just to keep it as a memory for family events. Yeah. So, and then but 2008, after I graduated, I got into this toy cameras. I got into these toy cameras because it was so cute. It's film. I got obsessed with it, like to the point of collecting lomography cameras, like toy cameras. And then 2014, I got into digital photography. So, ang tagal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's Christine.
So
she's popping by to say hi.
2008
Hello. It's Ria from work before. Yeah. So we're recording a session and there's Christine. Say hi.
Hello.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You're in the other camera.
Hello.
Yeah. Cool. Anywho.
So from 2008 to 2014, ang tagal ng transition ko to digital photography. And then siguro I felt I wanted to take photography seriously around 2016, 2017. Because 2017 I flew here. Yeah. So I'm going on my third year here in September.
Awesome. And then we're to kind of pick up what we were talking about like last week. This week, which is specifically meaning in photography, right? We're talking about meaning in photography, and that is our first topic for this episode. And it's pretty vague, and it's an interesting topic because people nowadays tend to get caught up in social media and the likes and all that. And they forget that photography is pretty much also a personal journey, and the likes really don't matter as much, right? And so that's our topic for today: meaning in photos or meaning in photography. Yeah. So, having done that, having said that, rather, what is like? Because I know like people who know me as like I do portraits, right? And your work, like professionally, but your work personally, like I say, I like how your personal work is very nostalgic. It's like you can smell the film or something like that when you look at the photos. It just triggers a lot of emotion and memories. But what is like for you your personal journey with photography? What is photography in your life or its meaning?
Well, it changed over time. Like lately, I felt that I just had this realization, like a couple of, like maybe last week or a couple of weeks, like, because now, of course, I'm at a different practice in photography, and I'm taking this photo documentary class. So, like, from being a hobbyist to being just dreaming of doing full-time photography as work. And it's true what they say, like, I got the job as a photographer, but it's not like you're happy all the time as a photographer. I'm happy I'm doing photography, but since there are already requirements, your meaning of photography changes over time. Like siguro it's a sign of maturity. Before, it's just like this naive, innocent dream of being a photographer.
Yeah.
But then when you do full-time photography, when you get requirements from clients, you meet different people with different tastes. Parang sometimes, you get lost. I get lost why I'm still doing photography. But like, it's not to the point where I don't want to do photography anymore. Like from time to time, I still want to take a break. But I had this chance of taking a break from doing personal photography because I didn't have a camera for almost a year. And then when I got a new camera, which is Fujifilm, wow. But advertising.
Go. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So when I got this Fuji camera, do I have to say it? So anyway, yeah. So it's like I got lost. Like I when I didn't have my camera as a personal documentary as a thing to document my life, parang I was so confident that I am this photographer. I have these things to say. Kasi I am detached ako from my professional work and my personal.
Yeah.
Do you experience that kind of feeling? Like in any, like you have this creative work, but you feel a certain detachment to it. Kasi, yeah, yun. So, kaya parang it's for those who are, just siguro hobbies or who don't understand, pwede mong sabihin na photographer ka na, ginagawa mo na yan. But then, the works I produce the stuff that I produce at work, it's not mine.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I put the same love and passion. Kaya lang, at the end of the day, it's not mine, but I'm proud that I made it. But then, of course, pag ako na, sarili ko na, parang my voice, parang when I got the new camera, parang I suddenly felt na what am I trying to say with my personal photography? So what does it mean to me now? So ngayon parang nararamdaman ko na as I mature and go over beyond the aesthetic nature of doing photography, parang it's more of a resistance for me. Like it's not about being different. Like gusto mo lang maging iba kasi ginagawa na ng iba to. It's not that. It's just that it's more of a personal question about myself na parang existential question ba na parang kailangan ba forever I'm doing this abandoned places, abandoned people-less places na parang I don't mature sa mga creative work. So there will come a point in your practice na your meaning with doing photography will become different. So now it's a resistance about not doing like the usual landscape stuff, because I do landscape, but it's more of a conceptual landscape, laging story or fictional thing for me. It's not really about I made a photo of this mountain. Diba? Pwede natin sabihin, it's aesthetic for postcardy.
Yeah.
It's not always like that. Ever since I started with photography, it's always like I felt I'm building a dream world for myself. It's an escape. It's always an escape. Like I'm building this dream world where parang it's my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So in a way, it has always been a resistance. It's a form of resistance and telling my own truth. Kasi I process reality in a different way. I'm always daydreaming. I feel like I'm not always in reality, but I have to always keep in touch with reality. So that's the meaning for me now of photography.
And that's cool because, like, I think I can relate to a degree because, like, when I was starting out, people would tell you to do, like, oh, you should be doing this. You should do it this way, right? But it's not really what I want to do. Like, they were comparing, well, for me, when lot of people were saying like you should do street photography if you want to get good. And so, street photography is nice. It's amazing. It's awesome. But like ever since I talked to you, I always wanted to do portraits, and that's really what I wanted to do. And people would comment on like my portrait photography, which is not it's cool, but they were telling me to pursue a genre that I'm not really interested in. And like you said, you feel that disconnect. Like it is photography, like your work. You do it, you love it, but it's not what you really want to do. It's not your personal creative choice, and there's that disconnect, right? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I get that. So speaking of like your personal photography and your photos you take, what I know I asked you to prepare ahead of time, so I know you have like a few photos you want to share with us, and let's go over that and tell us more about it.
Yeah, okay. So when I was starting as in doing creative work, I'm always drawn to abandoned places. Like, okay, there are photographers who do abandoned places, but still they're like more of documenting what this place means, like,
Yeah.
or not means, but what this place is about. It's more about in touch with reality. But with me, it's always about like, because maybe I was too much into literature and poetry and stuff. So like naturally when I translate it visually, it's like that. Parang like basically making my own dream world. So yeah, so over time I've started with landscape, and then since I didn't have the chance to, there came a time I can't go out in the mountain or beach. I had to adjust with doing photography, like personal photography out in the streets. But like, I'm not a street photographer. I want to clarify. I like street photography, but like, I don't have much. I can't even call myself a street photographer. Kasi, I don't know. I'm drawn to different things. I can do street photography maybe, but like, you will see in my work that it's not my strongest, practice. So I'll still go back to my abandoned places. So yeah, should I start sharing?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There you
Okay.
go.
Cool.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So these photographs, dito siya I took it here. These are mostly on my mobile phone. Taken from my mobile phone. So these are photos taken here in Bahrain over like for a year or last year or maybe 2 years na, I'm not so sure. Pero so whenever I'm in I still use my phone to document. And since I started with film, parang nakuha, and I like black and white photography, parang nadala ko na siya when I process my photos. I make it gritty, I make it noisy, just to make it have a film feel. Yeah, that's why. Pero ngayon, of course, I'm improving my practice, so I'm doing color photography little by little. But okay, going back here, so yun nga, abandoned places. So yeah, these are not in order, random lang to, and there's no story behind this, but like, when pag nakagawa ka na ng maraming ganito, eventually you begin to make story, make a story behind it. Like, siguro parang me, when I'm traveling lang around the city from work to home, I capture this abandoned places that resonate to me. So, ito lang. This photo somewhere, Bahrain is like, ito yung area na medyo parang province.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I'm living in the city. Pero before sa work ko, yung previous work ko, ganito siya. So, may area na open space, and then marumi siya kasi it's the window window third. The dirty part of the window. Yun. So, pero para sa akin, parang it adds up to the drama of the photo. Parang, yeah, I don't want it to look nostalgic because I'm not attached to the place. There's nothing nostalgic about it. But like, I just like this. I don't like perfect photos. I'm so sorry. I'm not a big fan of it. I make technically perfect photos in the office because it's required for me to do that. But like, for personal, no. I don't want things to be perfect. It's personal work.
It's another thing to talk about probably some other time because people get caught up in like high resolution, the sharpest lenses and all that, which isn't really always like, I mean, for like product photography maybe, but for like personal photography, you do want some defects, even in lenses. Like the best vintage lenses have some form of defect in them, right? In the image that they produce. But yeah, I mean, like that's a pretty nice photo. I mean, and again, it does give, you know, I know you said you don't want it to feel nostalgic, but it does have that nostalgic feel to it.
Yeah, so basically it's just like I don't have any meaning with this photo. It's just that I'm drawn to the open space. Ganun lang siya. So maybe I can say I've documented this open space in that part of the area where we were at that time. And yeah, going back to the not being drawn to technically perfect high resolution thing.
Yeah.
That's why so
oops, I think I lost you.
Hello?
There you go. You were talking about, you got cut off about the high resolution stuff.
Okay. So yun. So going back nga dun sa high resolution stuff, medyo sidetrack na tayo. Parang since I know a lot of, you know, people who are, you know, like the older guys who do photography.
Yeah.
Like those who are there already, like who's been doing photography for a lot longer, like a lot of years na.
Yeah.
Yung mga nag-start sa film na, let's say, yung mga veterans, yun yung tamang word, mga veterans. Sabi nung dati kong teacher, parang kayo, why are you getting that film look digital na kayo? Kasi parang para sa kanila, when digital photography was invented, it was like a big thing for them na hindi na sila mahihirapan magpalit ng film, walang noise, and for film photographers dati, doing siguro sa work, noise is a big problem for them.
Oh yeah.
Diba? It's a grainy part. So, well, for digital it's called noise, but for film it's called grain. So, yeah, and nga naman, you're doing product photography and it's very grainy. So, no, diba? So when digital photography, yung boom ng digital photography, it became easier for them. Tas tayo namang youth, like the next generation, we are so into the nostalgia and stuff like, you know, old stuff, vintage stuff. Yung digital, pinoprocess natin na film.
They put like light leaks on them and all these imperfections.
There's nothing wrong with it. Pero I realized lang that lately, after realizing that I'm doing photography as a resistance, like, I don't know, like, there's just something na pinaglalaban ko. Not against anyone or a particular group, but against myself. My how to be truthful and honest with my practice.
Yeah.
So, siguro now, I will use full frame cameras to do technically perfect photos without noise, you know, but now I still parang nasira kasi yung luma kong camera, so some generous lady gave me just really gave me an old camera. So it's a digital camera, and I still have my lenses with me. It's a crop sensor, so now I prefer using crop sensor for personal work kasi, diba, it's still not vintage, you know, like kailan lang nilabas, 1990, I think 1997 is still not vintage. It's the old 400D na wala pang video capability. But like, you know, going back to crop sensor, it's difficult to parang nanibago ako kasi ang liit, diba? view niya.
Yeah.
It's not everything is getting into the frame.
Yeah, the view
So,
is cropped.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, yun, I like yung hindi niya makakakuha ka ng sharp photo, pero you can manipulate in a way na hindi ko na kailangang i-process pa ng ganun sa Lightroom or Photoshop. It's like film.
Yeah.
Kasi,
and I feel like a lot of people get caught up with the whole, like you mentioned about gear, like you mentioned at the start, people get caught up with gear and the latest and the most technical stuff, and people like fail to realize, like even me, like I switched to full frame, but did it really make you a better photographer? Not really. I mean, it has better capabilities, right? But and I always like quote one of the things that Sean Tucker used to say in one of his videos, like, I mean, look at the older the masters in photography from yesteryears. They didn't have all this high-tech stuff, and you know, they created like amazing photos. Yeah, but even if you look at the photos today, they're not technically perfect. They have flaws, but they're still, like, you know, they're remembered by people, and it's like it's that's why they're masters, because they were able to create these amazing photos. Yeah. But sorry, speaking of like timeless. Yeah. But no, but speaking of like cameras and whatnot, this was taken with what we're using for this shot.
Mobile phone.
Your phone, see? So a lot of
mobile phone. It's I think it's an iPhone 6.
Yeah. So a lot of people like jump the gun and they want to get started in photography, and they don't realize, like, hey, you can do a lot with a phone.
Yeah. Exactly. So okay. Next image. No, share screen. Forgive me. I don't know how.
That's all right. This whole thing. There's going to be a lot of cuts and whatever on this thing, because this is something I haven't done as well. So really,
okay.
Fix that.
This one. Yeah. So this one. So okay. So I process, like what I've said. I shoot in color before, and then I process it to black and white. But now, since I got the new camera, it's all black and white. So this one, yeah. So I was we went to this thing. Pauwi na to. Going back home. So for me, I like this image of that cloud in that bus. Parang it's surreal. Parang how often do you see a cloud like that?
Yeah.
And it's like around 6 or 6:30 in the evening that time. So, and then it was just few cars coming to this area, because it's like we just came from the desert part of Bahrain. So yeah, so I wanted it sana na wala yung bus. I wanted it like to be totally empty, but then like okay, when I photographed it and saw the bus and this thing together, para okay, pwede naman. Parang you know, it looks so plain nga naman if it's just like an empty road. So this bus, like, it's a representation na not a lot. It kahit na may bus, it still represents na not, this area is not, you know, wala masyadong pumupunta. So yun, and then again, it's like for me, I'm building my own dream world again. Like, you know, I feel sometimes like I hope the world is just black and white, but I know not a lot of people will like that. So maybe I would, you know, if I'm sleeping or have my dream, I would go into this dream world that I'm building. And then next image.
While you're pulling that up, so as shown, like a couple of pictures that you've shown us, it's mostly like in black and white, and you shoot like generally in black and white. And why is that? Like, why do you choose to shoot in black and white?
Okay, so when I was starting, like around maybe 2014, 2015, so bago lang ako sa digital photography, parang okay, I realized parang nagkakaroon ka na ng maturity where you want to go as a photographer. So you're starting to look, for yourself, parang find yourself.
Find
You're
your
starting
identity.
to find yourself.
Yeah.
Your identity. Who are you? Who am I as a photographer? So, okay. It takes a while. You get this photo, you tried everything, you get street, you get portrait, you get color, and color is the hardest to process. Sa totoo lang. Yeah, okay. You have, at work, it's easy because you have these tools. Pero when you're out there by yourself and doing color, like doing it for your personal work, it's really difficult to figure out what your style is. Kasi style still matters because at the end of the day, it's part of your identity. Who do you want to be known as a photographer, right?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Okay, I know this is, and great photographers, when you see it, it's them. You know it instantly that this is their style. So I'm trying to like go into that practice already. So yung nag-black and white ako, I started with phones, and then nakikilala ko na rin yung mga Japanese photographers. Yeah, and Japanese photographers are really known for their black and white. Diba? It's not because it was their, wala silang choice that time because film was the only available thing they have, and black and white. And not much are into color at that time. So talagang, that's why they have all those black and white photos. Yun. So, ayun. So, I started researching and met people, in Manila who's into black and white photography, personal photography. Tapos yun, parang nagkaroon ako ng bagong mata. It's like I got new eyes when I started doing black and white because you started seeing the light. Like, you see these lines and this contrast and this, patterns and stuff through black and white. So initially, that happened to me. Yeah, so kaya until now na-carry ko yung black and white, and it's difficult for me to do color. So I attended a workshop, and the work I produced for that workshop is in color. But what my teacher told me, he actually asked me, like, why are you doing black and white photography? It's like, and he's not asking me what it means for me, but like he's breaking me, like, it's okay for you not to do black and white.
Yeah.
So he just wants me to see the other options siguro, or yung beauty ng color. So that's where I learned to do telling a story through color palettes. And you know what? It happens in movies. So na-realize ko, okay, si Wong Kar-wai, he tells stories through colors.
Yeah.
Yung mood na story. So yun na, another learning, another knowledge, another realization. So, okay. Diba? So it's important na talagang you watch movies and look at other people's work para lang ma-increase yung style mo in practice as a photographer. But yeah, I still go back a lot. Most of my personal work are still going back to black and white.
Yeah. I mean, definitely black and white or color, you can derive meaning from that. And like you said, especially with film, right? They do use color palettes, or they grade their film to look a certain way. And since we were talking about meaning, and meaning in with black and white, or meaning in color, when it comes to film, I always like to point out a very good example in terms of establishing meaning in color. The Matrix. Whenever they're in the Matrix, the film, the color tint of everything is in green. Yeah, when they're in the real world, when they're in the ship, or in Zion or wherever, everything's tinted blue. The real world is tinted blue, and then the Matrix is tinted green. And I always thought wow, that's a very interesting distinction. And again, that's how photographers would stylize or establish their style in terms of the color palette that they use, right? But in this case, you choose black and white, and that's great. So about this picture that you took.
Yeah, so obviously it was raining outside. We were just waiting for our other colleagues to finish work and come into the car. So yeah, there's not actually much details there. Like that's the thing with low resolution, camera photos. You don't get much details. But then again, I want to emphasize that it was raining and the lights are beautiful. And may konting detail naman ng bike when you see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to conjure that image. Like I just wanted that raindrops on the window. Ayun. So, and the next photo. This one. So it's the same place where we went to my bus and cloud.
Yeah.
But then
nice. This is amazing.
yeah, it actually rained a little, and then it's just that in color it's just parin kasi ang color palette niya is off-white, beige. Desert, it's just purely desert, pero yung rain clouds nandun. So obviously, since I do a lot of high contrast, ito yung lumabas. So again, for me, it's another dream world. Like, okay, maybe someone would ask, why would someone want to be in that? It looks desolate, it looks depressing. But for me, it's beautiful. Like, diba, would you want to visit, like, if everyone dreams of going to space, diba?
Yeah.
And space is a reality. So, but we can't go there, diba? So, but at least this one, parang, yeah, again, building my own dream world, and maybe I can go there somewhere in my dreams.
I was gonna say this looks nice. This looks amazing, and I actually thought, if you look at the raindrops, I actually thought those were lights down there below. Like I thought those were like street lamps. They look like how the drops are just around that area, and how they form. They look like street lights. I was like, are these street lights? They're not. They're not street lights. It's basically the light from the upper half being reflected.
Yeah. Yeah. Tapos yun, na-emphasize yung clouds. Ayan, pati itong area na to, cloud to eh. Parang tornado.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang you see things different. Parang nakikita mo yung mga things na hindi mo nakita normally. So, when you process, so, parang,
that's amazing. It's awesome.
World.
Yeah.
It's just, a road. Pero what I like about it is that konti lang yung car na dumadaan yung time na yan. I don't know why. Siguro, hindi pa COVID nun. Pero, yeah, nagkataon na konti lang yung dumadaan. But, I like it because I like the dirt. As I said, I don't like perfect photos. So, gusto ko lang yung feel ng dirt sa window. Like, it's like it's processed in film, but it's not. So, yung mga little things like that, I appreciate.
Yeah, that's cool. And I was gonna ask also, like, a lot of your photos, especially when you go through, like, what you post on, like, Instagram, I noticed that a lot of them deals with, like you mentioned, abandoned structures, or there aren't a lot of people in the shot. And like, these are shots of like that's a road. How do you time those shots where there aren't any people? Like I remember you have one shot where there was this like swing or like this pathway, and it looks like it's part of the city, but there's nothing there. There's no one there. So do you like fish for the photo? Do you like stay there for like 5-10 minutes until there's no one around, or?
No, it's I'm not that. I know a lot. I know photographers who do that thing. Like nag-aantay lang. That I'm not that kind of photographer. It's just that from the very beginning, I am so drawn to abandoned places. So if there are people there, I wouldn't waste my time for them to, get out of the place just to photograph that. Kasi it's an instinct, I don't know if you feel it, pero it's an instinct that these things are what resonates to me. Parang, like solitude, yung idea ng solitude, the idea ng, I don't know, it's poetic. Like, I like poetry and not to be romanticizing things, pero ever since, it's how I process the world. Like, this area is abandoned, I find it beautiful. I find it that this thing is existing and no one appreciates that this thing is existing and it's beautiful. Ayun. So for me, I find it beautiful, I photograph it. Pero if there are people there, hindi ko mapapansin yun. So naturally, parang I'm drawn towards empty spaces. Ayun. I don't know, especially if there is light.
Yeah.
There is light
Do a
in
lot
that
of high,
area.
yeah, a lot of high con. That's how you get your high contrast shots. And this one looks nice. This looks amazing.
Yeah.
We're
Over time, so believe it or not, gumagalaw yung sasakyan yan. So yeah, it's just that pag nasanay ka na kasi, I've been doing this kind of photography for the longest time. Masasanay na yung mata mo. It's like pre-visualization, right? So you automatically know. It's like you're framing the world already. You know how to frame the world already. And I've been doing this a long time. So pag nakita ko na instantly, parang this looks nice, I would photograph it. Parang ihahanda ko na. And nakita ko na yung sa sasakyan. Nakita ko na may araw. Pero while the car was moving, yung light, I was drawn to the light. I was drawn to the sun. So parang the car was moving and I wanted to photograph. But then it took a couple of, shots before I got into this composition. Kasi, syempre, click, diba?
Yeah.
But then the shots are not nice. You don't really get the light. And then until finally, nung nandun na kami sa gitna ng area na to, I got it. I got the shot. So, it was basically just looking at the light. And marami akong photos na capturing the sun as is, like this. So, yeah, and then, kasi for me, it's like, there's meaning, my meaning to it is that, di ba parang yung sa apocalypse, or like, let's say yung di ba, when we were growing up, and watching this, parang mga images of, makikita mo lang randomly sa TV yung images ng, anong tawag doon, yung Hiroshima bomb, like,
yeah.
yung idea ng
That nuclear flash.
Nuclear flash,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So it's something like that. It's whenever I see this kind of light and I process it instantly, I know already how to process it. It looks like it's the end of the world. So for me, I feel parang dark masyado yung sasabihin ko. Pero parang if I want to die, or like if it's going to be like the end of the world already, I want to die looking at this sun. Like, I want to die looking at this very bright spot. Kasi it's what else, di ba, I want to see beauty and I find it beautiful. Although it's like scary. Di ba?
Yeah.
So at least seeing this ball of light would be beautiful to see before you die. Yan lang naman, sorry.
That sounds like a line out of Sunshine. That movie.
What is Sunshine? A Korean movie?
No, darn it, who was in that movie? Now I have to look it up. Now I have to look it up.
Okay.
You got me. 2007 film. It had what's his name in it? Sunshine had. It had Cillian Murphy in it. There you go. And darn it. Here, I'll send you the link.
Choppy.
Sorry. I'll send you the link. Like, this is, I've got like the screen recording of me sending you a link. But Sunshine was about the world was coming to an end, and it's Danny Boyle is the director. It had Cillian Murphy, Bruce Byrne, and Chris Evans was in this movie as well, as well as Michelle Yeoh. There you go, Michelle Yeoh. But if I recall, the story was the world was coming to an end, and the sun was dying, and the crew was to set out to reignite the sun with nuclear weapons, or with nuclear bombs, to restart it. The first crew didn't make it, so there's a second crew that was gonna go, and that's them, like Chris Evans, Cillian Murphy, and Michelle Yeoh, and all these the cast. And they had this obsession with the sun. Like everyone would just sit out on the deck, and as they'd pass like Saturn, and you can see like the sun in the background, yeah, they'd be staring at it. There's this obsession with the sun, and that high contrast, the light, and all that. I don't know. I thought you'd see a movie like this.
No, not yet. I recently have the same photo that I posted on Instagram. Pero it's a different place. May dagat din, pero it's a different area here in Bahrain. So yeah, ganyan din. Napicturean ko din yung araw with the buildings, and yeah. So I'm just drawn into it.
That's cool. But with how you describe it, I think you should see Sunshine, because it sounds like a line out of Sunshine.
Okay. Sige. And then I have my last photo here. So again, these are all taken from my mobile phone, iPhone 6. So yeah, ito. So it's from the car window. Alam mo, bihira lang.
That looks great. That's like, wow.
It's flood. It's bihira lang, it's rarely na mag-flood dito sa Bahrain. Kasi ang ulan dito sa Bahrain, it's like what? Less than 5 times a year?
Yeah. And I thought you were like by the seaside. This is like by the seaside. I didn't know it was flood. I'm sorry.
No. Baha, it's flood. So the problem is, since hindi sila equipped for the flood, hindi maganda yung drainage system nila. So yeah, that happened. So it rained. And then yung mga nadaanan namin, I don't know, maybe sabi nila it was just in recent years na laging nagbabaha na every ulan. Climate change too.
Climate change is real.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, well, we Filipinos are used to this, like, you know, nakakamiss din na makakita ng baha. So yeah, I just find it beautiful na, ayun, dinocument ko lang na may baha. That's it.
But this looks very, I don't know, I guess again, you know, not to get into like the technicalities, but it's like there's a frame within the frame, and yeah,
yes.
it looks nice, it looks great.
Yeah, see, you know, it like lahat naman tayo, lahat ng mentors, even us, people we look up to, they will say, follow the rules.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, learn the rules, not follow. Learn the rules and then learn how to break it.
Yeah.
Or break it later on, diba? So, kasi pag alam mo na yung rules, may form ka na. And then, that form comes to you naturally. Alam mo na yung good composition, versus bad composition. So, it's just, hindi mo na siyang mapapansin when you do the work. But like, when you sit down and look at your work, okay, it still has form in it. You're asking why is it a good composition, because we know all these technical details, we know all this how it was done technically, pero while you're doing it, hindi na yun yung naiisip mo.
True. It kind of sort of comes automatically. But that was nice. That looked really great. But yeah, like you mentioned about like rules and all that, you know, you want to learn the rules before you can break the rules, mainly because you want to understand why the rules are there, right? Like why is there a rule of thirds? Why do you want to frame the horizon, the lower third, or in that case, like why does it look so nice having a frame within the frame? And I think it's like looking at a picture because it's framed there, but at the same time it's like looking through your eyes as well and being there in the moment. And you know, everyone will draw a different meaning from it, and I guess, you know, to each their own. Like, you know, photography is a personal journey, and one might look at the picture and interpret it in a different way. But it still doesn't take away the fact that's a very well shot. It's a very good shot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, people like normally know me as someone that likes to do portraits, right? But funnily enough, the pictures that I do like and that do have meaning aren't really portraits. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you so they can see it as well. And you're gonna see all the technical stuff going on. And this is one of my favorite photos. Mainly because it's an amazing view, right? It's like, wow. This is I don't get to travel a lot, and when I saw this shot, it's amazing, right? I mean, you see the mountains, and then you see the windmills, and you see the fishing boat, and all that, right? But it's also a frustration of mine because social media can't communicate how well this image is. Like, you upload this on Facebook or Instagram, it just doesn't look as good. It sucks. So it's not something that I have it up on Instagram, but it's not something a lot of people like. And like I mentioned, we get caught up in all the likes. But this is probably by far one of my most favorite photos I've ever taken.
Is it taken in panorama?
No, it's not. It's not in panoramic. It's another. I just cropped. I took the shot and I was like, this looks nice, but maybe I should crop off the bottom. And like, let's try to crop off the top. And it is a panoramic, like 3:1 crop, but it's not panoramic. It's just a normal shot that they just cropped. It just looked much better cropped with less sky and less water and just that. And we talk about, again, we're talking about like meaning in photos, and a lot of the photos I share is because there's a lot of meaning behind not just the picture, what you see in the picture, but this was a trip with my dad and my son and Christine, who you saw earlier. I know you know Christine, but no, everyone else doesn't know Christine. So that was Christine passing by in the back earlier. The reason why that I like this photo as well as the story behind it, we went all the way to, my dad visited and we went to Saud Beach all the way up north, and we got up at like 5:30, 5 in the morning to shoot because my dad got into photography as well. Because, he's like, hey, you're into photography and all that, and he visited, we traveled, and we got up at 5 a.m. to get these shots. And this is one of the shots. We got up at 5 in the morning, walking around the beach. Yeah, and it's that story behind this shot. That's why it's one of my favorite shots. It's not the shot, it's not shot alone, but it's a story behind it.
It's a soft, and it's like it's a soft light in the morning. It's nice. It's good to shoot during that time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
You can tell like the sun's rising over here on the right, and the sky is very blue over on the left. Yeah. So there's that.
And
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the simplicity of the photo. Like you don't like. Scenes like this you don't often get to see every day, experience every day. So getting a shot like that is, it kahit siguro you were, well, maybe it's a bonus that you were with your dad, right?
Yeah.
But like getting this kind of image that you don't normally get to see, you have that parang plus na siya na experience mo siya.
Yeah, definitely. And like if you don't,
and na-capture mo siya.
Yeah, and if you don't get up at like 5:30 in the morning, you're not gonna get a shot like this because the fishermen are gone and the beach is like full of people already. So you're not gonna get. You have to wake up at 5 in the morning. Yeah. So that's this one. And it's not one of the portraits I take. It's just one of the photos that are there. And another thing, I've got a couple here, but I'm gonna jump to this one because this again, it's not a portrait, and it's not even like technically the best picture because there's like so many people in the background, right? um, but I like it because it's my son and my dad. It's like
Yes.
the previous generation and the next generation, viewed by the current generation, so to speak. And seeing these two guys.
It has meaning. It has meaning.
Yeah. The meaning is, it's something that only like other people may look at it and they may like be like, wow, it's like it's a beach. It's nice blue waters and all this nice fluffy clouds and the mountains over the distance or whatever, right? And for others, they might see that that's just a snapshot, not really like art, but it's just a snapshot of the moment, right? But personally, like
Yes.
for me, the meaning is it's like it's family. It's like it's my son and it's my dad, and it's just amazing seeing how they interact, and it's funny how these two guys interact. And yeah, this is one of those moments that. And if I remember correctly, my dad was trying to point out like those small crabs in the beach, and they were running around, and Dante was looking for them with a shovel, and my dad was like telling him like there's one over there, you can dig him up or something like that. And that's the story behind that shot. That's why he's pointing out to the water. Yeah. Yeah.
Hindi, pero if you retained it, like, I have a question. So that photo, you retained it as is. Pero if you wanted more siguro to make it like technically pretty, that photo, you could have just erased the people there and did a lot of post-processing. Pero hindi, you just wanted to capture the moment that was the scene when your dad and your son was interacting.
Yeah. And I don't, when it comes to post-processing, I don't do a lot of Photoshop. I mean, not that I can, and it's not that you know how you have purists, don't Photoshop the image or anything like that. It's not that I'm a purist. I just prefer not to. Like I probably tweak the colors, but I prefer not to touch the photo, even if the people are there, they're there. Yeah. So that's that one. There is this other one. You notice it's a lot of my son. This.
Yeah, nice. That's a nice photo. Parang commercial sa McDonald's.
I know. So this is a nice. I mean, composition-wise, I like it. It's crazy, like the geometry in it, the square within the circle within a square, and all that.
Yeah.
But the story behind this is also interesting because I took my son out to go to this play place. So we went out, just me and him. We went to this place, and afterwards we had lunch and all that. But he was running around, and I told him like, why don't you sit over there by the window thing? Because this thing is like a round like portal, and then it opens up into a bubble. So the other side is actually a bubble. You can go further in. But I asked him like, why don't you sit down there? And I didn't even guide him. Like, this looks like a very post shot, but this is like he just sat down there, and that's how he sat down. He decided to sit down that way. So that's very.
Maybe because he knows that you're going to take his photo, and he just like automatically posts himself.
Yeah. And it's like, I think this was like a year ago or 2 years ago. So
he's aware.
Yeah, he's aware, and he's like 4 years old here. I think he's about 4 years old in this shot, and it's just amazing. Like, oh yeah, I know that doesn't look good, so he sits down this way. It's just quirky and interesting, this kid. So you'll notice like a lot of the shots are about my son. If it's not about
family,
family, exactly. Like if it's not about my dad, or if it's not about Christine, or it's gonna be about Dan, it's always gonna be about family. And, one more probably to share. This one. And
This is nice.
yeah, it's one of those. We were walking home. And this is
Candid moments.
candid. Here's the funny thing. this is actually not candid. It looks candid.
Oh,
It looks candid.
it looks candid.
I ran
Yeah.
ahead of him and I turned around to take the shot, and he's walking through the lines, right? And then I take the shot, and he said, "Let's do it again." He goes back and walks
Oh.
towards me, and this is the second
He's-
shot. It's not the first shot, yeah.
Pero I think your son, growing up with a dad who has a camera, he's becoming aware. Like he wants to be, he wants to look good in your photos. When you take his photos, he wants to look good. That's why he's, marunong na.
Yeah, yeah. He's funny. He's temperamental. Like he has his moments where like, yeah, let's do it again. And there are times like I'd set up like lighting and all that, and like you take one shot and he's like, I'm done. I don't want to do anything else. I want to go back and play. So yeah, he's funny. But yeah, this is us walking home, and he has his toy dinosaur with him, and I don't think this is the same.
It looks natural.
Yeah.
It looks natural.
It does. It does. It does. That's why I liked it so much, despite him saying like, "Let's do that again. Let me go back and walk down here, and you take the shot again." Despite the whole posing, it actually does look natural. It's interesting. And there are a few. There have a few more that are out there, but mostly like these shots that I'm gonna stop sharing this already. So a lot of my shots, like a lot of the shots that I do are like portraits, but the ones that I really like, the ones that really have meaning to me, are the shots that I don't really put out there. Some of them are out there on my Instagram. Some of them are not on my Instagram. I just hide them, and they're just photos I like.
May I ask, like, why do you feel like not sharing them at the moment? Or like, do they have the chance to be seen,
Well,
or you like posted somewhere?
well, like for example, let me go back and pull this one up. This one I like because this was like my son was very young here. This was like he was like 2 years old, I think, or 3. But I think this is like one of the first shots I ever took from the first camera I owned, which Christine gave me. Christine gave me my first camera, right, the Canon. And if this is not like the first, this is probably like the second, the third, or the fourth shot out of that camera. And it was like one of the first photos, like I said, like this looks nice, this looks amazing. And it's very candid, like you're just looking at the piece of paper. It's actually the receipt for I don't even remember what the receipt's for. So I don't have this out there. It's not posted anywhere. At least I don't believe it's posted anywhere. It shouldn't be posted anywhere. But I keep it because it's cute. He's like 3 years old, 2 years old here, and
Yeah.
it's one of the first photos I've ever taken with camera, with a proper like camera.
Yeah, and I think maybe one reason is because it's too personal. You don't need to share too much, about your family. Like, you just want to keep it for yourself. Like, what's the point of it? Yeah, it's nice sharing your son's photos on Instagram, but there are moments where, you just want to keep it for yourself
Yeah.
or your family members.
Definitely.
For
Like,
some photos.
exactly. Like we were talking about earlier. Like people get caught up with the likes and the technicalities, all this, and they share left and right. But at the end of the day, like, do you like the picture? Is it like what? Does it resonate with you? Is it what you want to do? And if you like it, if you have an appreciation for it, whether you put it out there, whether you post it, whether you get likes or not, or even if you don't post it, you're happy. At the end of the day, you're happy with what you got.
I like the light coming through, natural light.
Yeah. And I don't think I was even shooting in manual. It's again the camera. I don't remember if I was shooting in manual. I was probably shooting in auto. But yeah. And it's a crop camera, so people like again they get caught up with full frame and crop. doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Like, okay, so we have this thing here in your podcast because you didn't. I think it wasn't explained. Did you explain it in the beginning? I forgot. Like why we have this. Why you're adding this segment to your podcast?
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
So like we mentioned at the start, like again, we're kind of driving it in really hard, but people get caught up with like the technicalities and the likes and all this stuff. Like full frame, should I go full frame? Should I go get the perfect lens or whatnot? And
Oh yeah.
at the end of the day, we really just want to talk about photos. And for this for this episode, again, our topic's about meaning. But again, looking past all the technicalities and all of that, just talk about the photo.
Yeah. So So regardless of like whatever topic we are going to have in this segment, like in your podcast, the point is this is going to be a space for maybe we have future guests,
Yeah,
fellow
definitely.
photographers
Yeah.
so like it's a space for us to talk about our images because like people are like all of us, I'm guilty, like I'm still guilty, like I want to post something like because I find it nice. I still have that sometimes pag matagal akong hindi nag-post, it only means like I feel bad that I don't have anything much to say. So it happens sometimes. So I don't want to be hypocrite ganyan. Kaya minsan kailangan mo talagang mag-disconnect sa social media. But anyway, so Instagram photos, like they're fleeting. Like you post it today, you get a couple of likes, like a few hundred likes or like less than 100 or something.
Yeah.
Pero next week it's forgotten or tomorrow it's forgotten. So like like you only got that short instant gratification, like like that feeling, like
Yeah.
like
It's
how do you make an image timeless or with all these millions of photos posted on Instagram? It's all fleeting. So at least we don't hindi naman tayo nag-aspire. We're not aspiring like for all our photos to become timeless, to become classics sa public eye, right? But like this one, like whoever wants to join our little discussion about images, particularly images photography, this is going to be the place where we talk about it. Like it's good to talk about photographs, not gear. Like not everyone knows about gear. I'm not like, for me personally, I'm not much into gear, but like at the end of the day, what is important, the gear or the image, right?
Yep. And looking like beyond the gear and the image, it's really like the personal story. Like, why do you do your journey and what does it mean to you? And that's why we're starting off with this episode. Like I said, we're talking about like meaning in general, because at the end of the day, it's what it means to you. Like, why would you do it if you're not happy with it? Awesome stuff. So, going back to what I was asking earlier, like if people would want to see your photos and see your work, where should they go and what should they do? And I'll link it. I'll put the text and all that. But yeah, where can they go to see your work?
Well, my Instagram account now, I can't manage it as like just for let's say portrait, or mostly I post personal stuff there, like my thoughts. It's like it has become a personal blog for me, so I don't put there photographer. So I work both images and words, so I put a lot of words in my photographs. So so I use my real name, Ria Torrente, for the Instagram. But then in the profile, in the bio, I have links there for my film photography, which for the longest time I haven't updated yet. And the other one in my class, this documentary photography thing.
Yeah.
I have a link there also, but I haven't really started with the work, so that's why there's nothing in there. But maybe in the future, in that account, it says they're photographer. Maybe I'm looking at the possibility of doing maybe documentary work. Maybe I'm not sure where it will lead me, where things will lead me right now. Pero I just want to focus on that now. So after the class, maybe I'll do a lot of documentary stuff. But then my main account with my main name there, with my name, it's just basically about my thoughts and stuff. Like, you're curious about nonsense stuff that I say with my thoughts, you can add me or yeah.
That's cool. I think I like.
Oh, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Go before you lose your train of thought. Go.
Yun lang. And then yeah, adding to the meaning like of photography for me pala. I don't know. I just have this obsession of me wanting to be. It's weird. How do I say it? Like I want to become a better person. So it's like a mirror. Like if I want to do this creative thing, I have to be honest. I'm so obsessed with truth, and truth is relative. And so, like it applies to all areas in my life where, alam mo yun, parang I don't want to. Maybe ayoko maging self-righteous or anything. It's not that, but it's more on internal stuff for me, like trying to improve myself as a human being. Like so yeah. So just exploring truth through photography. That's it.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. I guess we can close it out by saying like, again, not to just drive the nail hard in. At the end of the day, you just have to be happy with what you do.
Yeah,
Here in the
Sean Tucker.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Sean Tucker.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Sean Tucker's amazing. Yeah. I should probably link this up to him. Nick. Whatever. But yeah, there you go. So an awesome talk. We've been talking for going over an hour. So that's awesome. I'll chop it up. I don't know how I'm gonna chop it up. There's a lot of firsts for me, for us. It's gonna look very messy. It's gonna look very rough. And as we go on and do more of this, we're gonna figure it out. But again, like yeah.
We'll find our style, how this thing will go.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's not the destination, but sometimes it's also the journey. So cliche. But yeah,
Exactly.
We'll end that there. Catch everyone else in the next episode when we do get around to getting that next episode. Alright. Don't hang up. I'm gonna say bye, but don't hang up. Alright. So yeah, bye everyone, and see you around. Bye.